What is going on, y'all? Just stopping in for another cold conversation, you know what I'm saying? And we just gonna chat while I do some other work here, as we did before. But yeah, so appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with your boy. So really, I just want to kind of chat about something that's been important to me over the last few weeks is as I've kind of taken this sort of sabbatical, if you will, from the podcast at least. Um, but one of the things that has been very intentional for me over this time and over the um, course of the last few weeks is like really refocusing, recentering in prayer and just my walk with God. And like one of the things that I've kind of taken note of is like it's so relieving to just kind of sit and not have to, feel like I'm praying to receive a word or praying for, um, you know, um, or like I have a task to do that I need clarity and direction on, and I can just sit, I can just be in this moment in time. I can just listen and, just thank God for where I'm at, what He's done, what He's getting ready to do. I can just sit in that and not feel any pressure to, speak on anything. Like I haven't preached or spoke for something in months now. I've done other things, but it's so relieving and relaxing. And so I think it's important that we take note of that and share that with you all to say that it's important to kind of within your walk just take a step back. Like I'm not asking God for anything. I don't in terms of you know outside of the basic needs and all of those things that He said He would provide, and just thanking Him for that and sitting in that. But other than that, I'm not looking for anything, or I'm not coming with these requests of these things. And so I think that has been very impactful for me in terms of just thinking through it, just thinking through like, Lord, you've been good to me and you are good. And like really tapping into that in prayer. And we know the Bible talks about praying without ceasing and all of that. But sometimes, like even in our routine of, and it's just that a routine, right? In our routine of prayer or in our routine of going through daily life, we forget to just kind of sit and be a son, sit and be a daughter. And I posted a reel about that and just sitting there like that was one of the times where I was working on something that was for God, was for the kingdom, that He just kind of paused me, and that's kind of been I've been trying to work on that particular thing for a time or two, and it was something that I typically put on worship music and or something to kind of help set the mood of what I'm working on, or just kind of go forth in that kind of space, in that kind of setting, with that in mind. And so I it was like that moment that it was like, yeah, this was in a moment earlier where I just kind of was just praying and just kind of just thanking God for who He is, like I said earlier. But like that moment was like really impactful to me because it was like, sometimes and to do it at home, to do it is really what I want you to kind of glean from as well. It's like not waiting until the Sunday service or waiting until the church doors are open and and things of that nature, but just sitting and thanking God for who He is and acknowledging that in your day-to-day routine. And so, these breaks, these sabbaticals, if you will, are is is important because just going through life, like it's important to take a rest. And sometimes that isn't going to always look like, oh, I have to go somewhere or I have to do, or, book a trip or whatever and go here and go there to reset. No, you can do it in the comfort of your own home. It's just being intentional about saying, um, this is a moment in which I have to sit with this, and just thank God and just kind of recenter. Um, Maybe you do need to go somewhere and be by some water or go to the mountains or whatever the case may be, whatever works for you, right? But knowing that and taking a pause, taking a break to build that spiritual discipline of prayer and fasting, right? Um, Building that spiritual discipline of prayer and fasting because, like I mentioned, Thessalonians talking about praying without ceasing, rejoice always, pray without ceasing. And so, um, building that discipline, like a lot of times, like, so I might be weird. Y'all can call me weird if you want to, but when I'm driving, a lot of times I don't listen to music. I don't listen to podcasts. I don't listen to anything, or audiobook or anything. I just kind of sit, and in those moments, I'm praying. In those moments, in between meetings or in between walking somewhere, it's like praying in my head as I go through my day and talking to God through my day, um, and it helps with, so for the preachers and speakers out there, or future preachers, sometimes that is important too, to kind of just say, okay, God, like, we talking about this is where I'm going, like playing out what you're talking about or even thinking about it. In that, it kind of helps build the the foundation of where you're going. And sometimes the Holy Spirit will drop something on you to where it's like, oh, okay. So when I go back to a study, like throughout the day, or when I go back to actually sitting down and doing it, um, or working on it and writing out or typing out the outline or whatever, it's easier because I'm getting those deposits throughout the day and I'm in constant communication with God and just talking through it. And so, really, this conversation is just really been about me sharing how I've, like, during this time, been able to just like sit at God's feet and just sit and not have to worry about putting something out, putting out content, or I know I did these videos and stuff like that. I'm not, but this is kind of a natural conversation, like behind the scenes, so where it's not something I've overly prepared or overly exegeted, if you will, to where it's, this is kind of a natural conversation. And so, I think these are all in all good, to take those moments to recenter, to refocus, to just acknowledge God for who He is. And that's really what I want to leave you with. And just seeing how it helps with the other areas of life. Like, there are things that have been revealed to me that, hey, this is an area, this is where you're passionate about. You want to help grow and develop leaders. You want to help grow and develop future speakers and preachers and ministers, and you want to help do those things. And so having the time to step back and say, this is where you're calling me, this is the burden that you're placing on me, right? You want to have a conversation with me, and you want to do these things, and this is this is what fuels into the next part of what you see from cold therapy, from Che Cole, from all of these things, is that time away, that time in solitude, if you will, that time separated, of just saying, I'm separating this time so that I can focus and recenter on where you're calling me, versus being in the grind, right? And doing this every single week of putting out content or putting out different things. But no, let's look at future here. Let's look from a 90-day, from a quarterly perspective, from a yearly perspective. What does 2024 look like? What does this look like? And so, in those times of just acknowledging God and even not even thinking about those things, just thanking God for who He is, it actually opened me up to say like, this is where I'm taking you. God is showing me because I'm acknowledging, I'm reverencing Him, that this is like, pay attention to what I'm leaving you, right? Pay attention to what I'm telling you. In this moment of you reverencing and honoring me, I'm going to show you the things that you won't even have to ask, right? The people will come to you. I'll send a word, and it'll resonate in your spirit. And so I hope this conversation was helpful in terms of just recentering, taking the time to rest, to focus, and just acknowledge God for who He is in doing life and doing your day-to-day activities, and then from there just saying, trusting that He's going to provide the very thing that you need in those moments, and not losing the posture and the reverence of who God is. So that's going to do it for this conversation. Do all the YouTube stuff, do all that. And yeah, till next time. Peace.